are chill. What is up? People of YouTube, people out there in the podcast universe. Your excellent friend, the brand, Big Vito T, Super Kick.
Super Kick Weekly.
Super Kick, Super Kick. What? What you want? What? That was terrible. I know.
Yeah.
I know it was.
I like that.
BVT, what up, my man? How's it going?
Oh, it's going good, man. How are you?
Excellent. Can't complain. Got the small talk out of the way. You know, I was watching an interesting thing this morning. And I wanted to know your opinion, Vito. How are you on small talk? Are you a small talker? Do you enjoy?
I think it depends on the setting. I think if I'm on the phone, like to my wife, she's not watching, is she? If I'm on the phone to my wife, there's zero small talk.
Right.
Like I'm like, yeah, I don't do phones. So like, if we're talking about something that I enjoy, we can talk forever. But small talk, I don't think I'm very good at it. But it's got to be on a good topic.
I don't like small talk. Of course, you know, you can use small talk as the transition into serious talk. I think that, you know, sometimes that's fine, but knowing how to do that is tricky. I'm talking about like on the daily, like you go into a store to buy something to drink or whatever, you know, and depending on the store and depending on the person and that level of small talk that you have with that person, like every day or like every few days, you know, or whatever.
Yeah.
Are you like a small talker in the store or no?
Here's the thing. So if someone says like, you know, how's your day? Blah blah blah. At the grocery store register. How's your day? Blah blah blah. Right.
Right.
Did my headphones just stop working? Can you hear me right now?
I can hear you, but your audio did change. Like it got a little louder and a little more like it was a room mic or something.
Does it still sound good right now?
It sounds great.
Okay, good. That means my headphones died, and we're doing this through my Apple iPhone. Anyway.
All right.
So, yeah, at a grocery store, if they're like, "Oh, how are you? How's your family?" Da da da. I'm not very good at that. But if they're like, "Oh, I like your shirt," oh, I'm in. I'm in like Flint. Oh,
there
yeah,
you go. There
Deadpool?
you go.
Oh yeah, Deadpool's cool. I love him. He's cool. Like I said, topic. You get me on a topic, I'm in.
Ooh.
But if you want me to chat about my day or my family at a register, I can't do it. Yeah. I'm at a loss for words, don't know what to say to you.
See, that's very interesting.
Can you do that? Is
know,
it the same thing?
I love small talk interaction at stores because when I used to work at the gas station, I became just like very good at it, you know? Like having those micro interactions all day long. Like, I don't know, it just suits my personality for whatever reason. Like, I'm fine with it. It doesn't annoy me at all. I'm able to do it just fine. And I actually really like it. And it bugs me when the person at the store is not like giving me back my vibe. You know what I mean? When you go up there and you're just like, yeah.
Now that's a different scenario.
And they're not, you know, they're not smiling, they're not telling you have a good day or anything. When you're not receiving that back, that really is terrible.
Okay. That's something else. If I'm in a good mood, like a crazy mood, like I kind of get in sometimes.
Right.
And I'm like trying to engage them, like, hey, how you doing? Have a good day? And they give me nothing back. I immediately leave the store like, they shouldn't be working in customer service. Like I switch personalities to where I'm like,
I
Yeah.
automatically want small talk for some reason because I'm in a good
Yes.
mood.
Right.
So I think it switches, I guess. It switches.
To me, I think of that as like, if you know, I can understand people having a bad day, but if it's not if you're not a person that can do like a bunch of those like mini interactions all day long, then you probably shouldn't be working there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or you know, or you could work there, but you know, maybe not be the person that's like, you know, interacting with the people, because
Yeah,
that's
get in the
just
back room.
right. Exactly. Go stock
Go,
some
go
shelves. You
stock
know,
something.
I'll
Get a
think about
broom.
that sometimes. Like, who is this person, and like, where did they come from, and this and that and the other thing. But I don't know. I just thought that that was an interesting deal. Also, I wanted to touch on something that you mentioned about the T-shirt thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Sometimes, yes, I'll wear a lot of shirts, you know, like whatever, wrestling shirts or whatever. And sometimes that'll end up really great. But then, like, a lot of the time, it'll also kind of annoy me because people do the thing where they like pretend like they know about something, but they really don't. And
Oh
it's
yeah,
like,
that
and
would
you
annoy
know,
me.
like way more than them about it. And you're just like, I want to sit here and correct you on so many things, but I just don't have the freaking brain power to do it.
Yeah. Oh man. Oh yeah. That would annoy me. I don't run into that very often, but yeah. Yeah, that would suck. I would definitely have a problem with that. I'd probably just come home and text you and tell you about the dumbass I saw at the store.
This asshole just freaking, uh, just thought WCW still existed. Like, you
They
know,
called WWE WWF. Could you believe it?
right. You know, I mean, but that happens, of course, Vito. I mean, that's why you and I are, you know, kindred souls doing a
Yeah,
show like this, right? Because it's
for
like
sure.
our understanding of kind of just the whole world just goes to a whole nother level. Sometimes talking with common folks, sometimes, you know, some people a little bit more knowledgeable, but you're talking to someone, you know, sometimes, and you're just like, wow, you know, like their whole uh, view of wrestling is just like completely different, completely different level. They're watching it just like it's a TV show. They just enjoy it or whatever, you know what I mean? I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah. You
But
gotta analyze it.
yeah, no, there's different levels.
Yeah.
You know, there's different levels of it. I mean, I've met people that are still just complete marks. You know what I mean? Like they really have no idea. Okay, you know what was, you know, like, was that real? You know, did that actually? You know what I mean? It's just like, and I don't know. I wish I could be like that
You
sometimes.
know,
You know what I mean?
I would say that I am not a complete mark,
But you
but
like to
there's
believe still, and a
um
lot.
I I allow myself to be allow my belief to be suspended um quite a bit. I try to put myself um pretty far. I try to put myself pretty close to that markhood, uh, because um, I don't know. I can be absent-minded pretty easily, so I can turn off my brain and watch TV. Because I know I got some family who I caught peeking behind the curtain, because they'll watch reality TV and they'll tear it apart, tear like, oh, that's not real, they're making that up, and I'm like, oh, come on, just watch the show, you know what I mean?
Right.
So and so that I'm not a big fan of, but so when I'm watching wrestling and like, and I hear like a big slap, you know what I mean, a big super kick that sounds really loud, I'm like, ooh, I'll still do that. but I know what's going on, but
Yeah.
I like to still, whoever does it real good, Matt Jackson can make a super kick sound so loud, and it's like, still gets me. It's like, oh man, dang,
Right.
he's good at that. Matt Jackson has the loudest super kick in wrestling. I'll stand by that. So I try to suspend most of my belief, even though I get it. Hey, it's still real to me.
Well, right. I mean, when
Yeah.
you're watching the shows, you definitely should, unless there's some kind of huge flare up that takes you out of it like that.
Yeah.
You're pretty much like, yeah, you're into it. You're just into the story of the match.
Yeah.
And you're not necessarily, that's what good wrestling is supposed to do and what it does. Yeah. Of course you're not going to want to sit there and watch it with someone that's just like, and we've all had this experience at least a couple times, I think, in our lives. You try to sit there with someone and they're just like, oh my God, fake.
That's why when
fake.
someone comes over while I'm watching wrestling, I turn it off. If a non-wrestling fan comes over while I'm watching wrestling, like for a visit, I'll turn it off and wait till they leave.
See, there you go.
I do not watch wrestling with any non-wrestling fan. Don't happen. I don't allow that situation to even be brought up.
I definitely have avoided it in recent years, but it has happened.
Yeah, me too. That's why I
happened to all
avoid it now. I learned from my mistakes.
But no, but I'm also always watching wrestling, and sometimes, yes, it's about the match, but also as things are going on, and I like to try to call okay, well, I feel like this is going to be the finish, because they're going to do this or whatever, so I like to speculatively, look at it like that, which is a whole interesting trait in of itself, probably.
Yeah.
Probably not a whole lot of folks that do that, but
I've noticed that that's easier to do in WWE than it is in AEW.
Yeah, you could say that.
They tend to do swerve endings more often. I think that's why I like AEW more, because they're faster paced, they do more exciting moves, and they have endings that, I'm not going to say they have any. They more often have endings you can't predict than WWE does, in my opinion. IMO.
I've been really trying hard to not necessarily look at it as like a WWE, AEW, or whoever type thing. I'm really trying hard to judge everything just kind of as a whole, and maybe not necessarily even judge it, but just kind of like look at it as a whole. And it's like there's things I appreciate about both products, and I can't really even say that like I have a strong preference, like as we stand right here, right now. Yeah. I legitimately enjoy both, like almost on the same level, but I will say that I do really enjoy the way WWE does their drama and the way they, we see it a lot, just like it's like the promo stuff and the storyline stuff. Yeah, some of it does get kind of graining and repetitive, but like some of it is like really, really great when you do it that way, when you actually like plan out, the promos.
Yeah. When you have a full-on writing team.
Right.
Yeah.
In-ring action, probably AEW, because it's like, they're mixing, you get a mixed bag of different styles. You can't really call how matches are going to go in particular. Like you were saying, there's a lot of different stuff there, and that, yes, the being able to predict the matches does become kind of like a little bit tiresome because yes, there is that match formula.
Yeah.
On the
Just for
promo side, though, I mean, I think it's WWE hands down.
really,
I do.
wow. Just for instance, I don't know if we're going to discuss Dynamite at all, but there was a fatal four-way, and the winner was Sky Blue, and like my jaw dropped.
Right.
One, I was like, "What?
Right.
Wow!"
That wasn't supposed to happen. Right.
Yeah, it was interesting to me. I was like,
Yes.
I would not have called that at all.
I enjoy the randomness of that, and I appreciate that as well. Yes, I love that. And like I said, in-ring action and that sort of thing, probably enjoy that on a whole better than WWE on like a more regular basis.
For the promo thing, I would only I see what you're saying about promos in WWE, but what I would say my difference for promos in AEW are the promo guys like Bryan Danielson, John Moxley, MJF, Adam Cole. Those guys can do a promo with no help,
Right.
and they can do it, boom, just right there, and they're amazing. And those are what we get usually. There are some people in AEW who need help, and I've heard that they do. Jerry Lynn, Dean Malenko, those type of people, they give help. Even John Moxley helps other people do promos, help write them for them. So that's an aspect of AEW I like having to do with promos. But
Right.
but the writing thing in AEW about or in WWE about promos, I do get that. Like Roman Reigns.
I mean, the whole bloodline thing, you don't get that kind of a few times in AEW, they've been able to cater that kind of emotion and that kind of like big, like arc storytelling type
between
thing.
the bloodline and dang it, I always forget the
problem.
Rhea Ripley and Dominic.
Yeah. The Judgment Day.
Judgment Day. I can never remember their name. Bloodline and Judgment Day. The promos coming out of those two storylines are so good. I think
For
the
sure.
whole crowd booing Dominic and him just trying to get a word in, and him coming off as like an insecure little kid. I think that's not on accident. I think that's on purpose, and I think it's amazing.
The problem I have with the AEW stuff is a lot of the time when they're doing like the group promos or like a battle promo in the ring or something, it's like, yes, you can, guys like MJF, guys like Moxley, guys like Danielson, of course they can talk. They don't need stuff written for them necessarily on a word for word basis. But I get the feeling sometimes that there's not even like no one even like wrote an end to the segment necessarily. You know what I mean? A lot of times it's just like I see it as like Tony Khan's just like, well, you guys just go out there and jab at each other for like 5 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
And when you do stuff like that, it can be great, but then it can also end sort of flat.
I see what you're saying about the group thing.
Yeah.
The Sammy Guevara, Jungle Boy, Darby Allin, MJF, the last couple promos.
Those promos were brutal. I mean,
before Double or Nothing, this all four guys out there. Right. I respect you, but and then just going around circle. Yeah, right. Those were difficult.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And I've seen it happen, a couple times. It's not like they make a habit out of it, but it does happen. I don't know. It seems like more often than not. At least when you have the heavy scripting, at least kind of the blocking and the motion and everything just kind of makes sense, if that makes sense. Speaking of which, entertainment. Uh, WWE, apparently they are open for negotiations as of this morning. The window has closed for the renewal on their rights deals with NBC Universal and Fox. So now they are open to discussions to move Raw and SmackDown potentially, depending on what kind of bids and what kind of negotiations come in. So
Really?
we could see a whole different world come 2024, man. You know, we could see Raw on like Prime or something. Who knows? I mean,
Exclusively on Peacock.
who knows? Maybe.
Oh man.
But I think the NBC Universal people are the same as the USA people, so they would probably they would keep that the same, I would imagine.
UFC's who's that parent company that just bought us or bought them? I say us like we're part of the company.
They formed a new company. It was called Endeavor, but they called it something else now.
So it's got to be that, right? They got to be mixed in with. I mean, WWE can only do so much without their input. So it's got to be something related with UFC as well, right?
Well, this is specifically, I mean, yes, I mean, it's semi-tied to that because they are a part of this group now.
Yeah.
But specifically, these negotiations would be for Raw and SmackDown specifically, because those are the money makers. That's what brings everything. That's where they're getting these huge, 300 million whatever dollar rights deals for each show, because those networks are just giving them that flat amount and then hoping that they get their return from the advertisers and this and that and the other thing.
Yeah.
So NBC Universal owns a bunch of networks. Of course, Fox owns their series of networks, and someone could buy both. Someone could buy just one of them. But Raw and SmackDown entities.
USA and Fox, are they owned by the same people?
I believe they're different companies, from what I understand.
Okay. Because Raw's on USA and SmackDown's on Fox, right? Isn't that still how it goes? Okay.
Yes. So yeah, it would be one of those things.
They've never been on the same channel, have they?
No. Yeah, and SmackDown's been through the gauntlet.
Yeah. It was on UPN at one time.
Yes, it started on UPN. And then it went, that changed into the CW for a while. And then they moved it to wherever, like, I don't even know.
Sci-Fi.
Yeah, then it moved to Sci-Fi for a bunch of years. You're right.
Remember when Raw was on Spike TV?
Yeah.
Man's channel?
Arguably one of the things that declined wrestling viewership over the years. If you go back and you look at the ratings, that first run on USA before they left to Spike, or it was still TNN at that point when they switched over, but they were doing like a 6 something rating on USA when they stopped there. Moving to the TNN network at that time, they took like a 2 million viewer dip just by switching those networks, which is really weird decision. I guess they gave them more money, but then again, their show was in like at least 2 million less homes. So Raw went from doing sixes.
Did they get the 2 million back eventually, or
it's never happened? Raw went from doing sixes to doing fours, and incrementally it kind of hung around there during the whole Spike era. When they went back to USA, they were still doing right around 3s and 4s. And now, as you see, they're hovering right around at like 2s, sometimes, in the high 2s, sometimes down in the 1s. Raw is at nowadays. Of course, also, people will say till they're blue in the face, different landscape, not as many people watching TV, streaming, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Then again, people, there's still 40 million people or whatever watching the Super Bowl on traditional
they're still
TV.
selling out arenas.
Right. Depending on what pictures you look at, right?
Yeah.
So, it's, it's weird, but yeah, that's a whole nother subject, the decline of, but the ratings have been solid enough, if not better than they were when they I know it's not really quite what Fox expected, so it'll be interesting to see if they stay with Fox. I see Raw staying and Smackdown maybe going to like Prime or something weird like that. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. I'd like to say I see them both staying. I don't think they're gonna go anywhere. I think they're solid where they're at.
Okay.
Mostly SmackDown, I think, is if they're moving, I think SmackDown's the one that's more solid than Raw.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
In my opinion.
So yeah, it's interesting, because all the Fox branding in between with like the NFL and all that stuff, they did a lot of co-branding with that. It seems like they wouldn't want to give that up either. That's probably a very valuable portion of the deal.
Especially with how they're how the things they do, the physicality and stuff. I'll be all right there. Get primed up. Like I don't see ABC getting them or anything like that. But if they go streaming, I don't know if they would do that, like straight streaming.
That would be interesting, right?
It would be. Let's see. They wouldn't go to HBO because that's AEW.
The only place I see throwing around the money for something like that would be a deal with Prime.
Because, so like live, you go live on Prime, or are we going taped on Prime?
It would probably be live on Prime. That would be the whole idea, the live.
I wouldn't be against that. They'd be able to get away with a little more.
Prime paid so much to get the Thursday night football game, every week last year. Literally, you could not get it anywhere. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you literally had to pull up your Prime to watch it. I remember the first couple weeks being like, it's not on NFL Network, it's not on CBS, and like panicking. No. We had to bow to our Prime overlords.
Yeah, well,
to watch the game.
That would be interesting if one of the shows switched to Prime. I'd be cool with that. I got a Prime account.
So yeah, I mean, Jesus. Vito, a couple other things I wanted to bring up here before we got into the meat and potatoes of this show. Now that we're halfway or so through, either way, I wanted to bring up to you this quote from Frankie Kazarian.
Ooh, yes.
I was pretty critical. I mean, not in like a very harsh way, but just basically saying that like, the old adage that, wrestling wasn't being done his way in AEW, and that's part of the reason why he's not there anymore. Do you buy this, and what do you think of these comments?
Well, to me, we haven't heard Christopher Daniels say that.
Well, he's still a
So,
producer there.
yeah. Well, that's what I mean. Like, I think Frankie Kazarian is just a grizzled veteran who wanted to finish out his career a different way. That's why he didn't say like AEW sucks, don't go there.
Right.
He just said it wasn't for him, wasn't delivering what wrestling meant to him. So he wanted to, go to his old alma mater. You know what I mean? He wanted to go finish out his career the way he wanted to. And I can see that. Other than that, I really don't know what else he meant by that. But other than, if it wasn't just they weren't giving me the way I wanted in my career, I'm hoping it wasn't any more than that. Is what I'm trying to get out.
Yeah. Now that you put it that way, I totally understand these comments. This is more or less almost kind of like work shoot comments. This is something that he has to say as a guy coming into a smaller company like Impact and trying to make an impact, right? See what I did there?
He had to come in with a reason without shit talking his old company where all his homies work.
Right.
Yeah.
And this way he gets to go there and be like a main eventer type guy instead of just like a tag team guy or whatever, AEW's vision for him was, which is obviously lower on the card and not one of the big players. I mean, it kind of looked like that for a second, him and Daniels, they had a run with the tag straps, right? I mean, they were all up in the show, for a long time.
Were they the first? Oh no, him and Scorpio were the first.
Yeah, see, so good for him.
Speaking of Frankie, there was an emotional moment I saw because of Alex Shelley just won the Impact World Championship for the first time in his career.
I saw that.
And Chris Sabin just broke a record. He's the 9-time X Division champion. So both the Motor City Machine Guns are singles champions right now, and they're together as the Guns. So, yeah, one up for the Motor City Machine Gun. And Frankie came out to the ring as they were having their celebration. Came out to the ring and hugged them both and gave them a congratulations, and then left with no beef. So it was just a cool little moment. I watched the video on YouTube of that. It was pretty nice.
I think it's cool how they're leaning into the actual history of that company. You know what I mean? When you really think about it, Impact, and I was thinking about this the other day while watching the Impact channel on Samsung TV, is that, man, what a rich history. Like when you really think about it, people like to dog on it or whatever, but if you seriously go and look back, it was a great place for legends to come and do something, when WWE wasn't really doing that sort of thing, bringing guys back for special appearances.
Yeah.
There's a lot of annoying like Jeff Jarrett stuff and whatever, Kevin Nash and just like there's a lot of stuff like that, but you also look back on it and go, man, AJ Styles, Daniels, Kazarian, the Guns,
Joe.
The Dudleys had a great run there for a little bit.
Team 3D.
Yeah, we talked about this. We talked about this a few weeks ago. You said you really dug the Aces and Eights storyline.
Yes, big fan of the Aces and Eights thing.
So
I watched that. I watched that was TNA, right? Not, or was that Impact? Was that before they changed?
I don't know if they had
I don't
officially
know, but I
changed
watched
yet.
every week just for that. I dug the Aces and Eights thing a lot.
See, there you go.
Because I watched it on the internet too. So I was like, oh, whose body does that fit?
Yeah.
Oh, who makes those motions? You know what I mean?
A
That was
huge
fun.
a huge part of Kurt Angle's resume done
Yeah.
under TNA. Joe,
I was
mean,
watching a video
God.
the other day. It said like 10 wrestlers you didn't know were in TNA or something like that, or Impact.
Yeah.
China made an appearance, a one-time appearance in Impact Wrestling. Did you know that?
Bro, I did not even know that. I've never seen
One
that one.
time she was in Impact. Yeah, one time. It was the video I watched was pretty cool. I suggest you go out and find it. It'll be interesting.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just like 10 wrestlers you didn't know were in Impact that they showed up one time and then never came back.
I could do a whole show lamenting about the TNA days. I remember them fondly, especially the early days, the 2-hour pay-per-views you had to pay $10 for.
Oh yeah.
I was on that just because I was dying for something different. I was very disappointed at the time with kind of how the Alliance and the whole WCW purchase kind of went down. Kind of left a sour taste in my mouth if we're looking back, Yeah.
Huh.
Like I thought it was kind of fine at first, and then, I don't know. I just remember literally by SummerSlam 2001, I was pretty much like out on wrestling completely. I was just like, I had decided that I was like just not going to watch anymore. It was weird.
Little off on SummerSlam. Have you played the showcase mode of 2K23?
The Eddie Guerrero deal? No, I have not.
No, 2K23 is John Cena.
Oh, okay. So
yeah,
okay,
where you get the beat up John Cena. You have to play that because like I'm on the last. I think I'm on the last 2, but the last like 7 matches are all at SummerSlam. It's like I'm going one. It's like, oh, it's SummerSlam match. Next one, oh, it's SummerSlam match. The next one, another SummerSlam match. what are we doing here? Was those that important to you? Were your SummerSlam matches like the top of your career, buddy?
He was the king of SummerSlam,
I guess.
And they, I guess they just wanted to draw attention away from his WrestleMania matches. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's weird.
Yeah, it was like 5 WrestleMania match or 5 SummerSlam matches in a row. Then I did the Dwayne once in a lifetime match.
Well, let's think about that, right? Let's go through his matches and see. Okay, obviously the first one's Big Show. They probably didn't want to do that and have have him be in the game, right? Can't really do that. He's about to be in Fight Forever.
Yeah.
So you can't do Big Show. His second match was where he won the World Championship against JBL. Could have done that just fine. 23 was him and Shawn Michaels, which I don't see where there could have been any problem with that unless, they just didn't want that out there, remind people that he had beat Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania. Then you have 24 where he was in a triple threat, I want to say, with like Orton and Big Show again. Are you looking it up? You got it there?
So here's the matches that the showcase mode has. Okay. I'm not going to list all the matches. I'm going to list the SummerSlams though. SummerSlam 2006, SummerSlam 2008, 2014, 2016, and 2015. 2021. Those are all the SummerSlams that are on that. There's only one. Let's see, the WrestleManias they put on there are 34 against Undertaker, 28 against Dwayne, and that's it. Two WrestleMania matches.
And that Undertaker one wasn't even a real match.
No. I haven't got that one.
Here's more of I don't have them in order here, but talked about those two.
We all have a cause that is important to us.
He also had, the year where he teamed with Nikki against Miz and Maurice, and he proposed to Nikki.
Yeah.
The Miz, probably don't want to highlight that one. Let's not forget about the Firefly Funhouse match.
I wish that would be one. That'd be fun. Yeah, so I only got
another Bray Wyatt, WrestleMania 30. I'm sorry, go ahead.
So am I on the last? Oh no, so I just am about to finish the AJ Styles match, so I only have two more matches. I got the WrestleMania 34 and the last one, which is SummerSlam 2021.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Two different triple threats, one year with Orton and Triple H, the next year with Edge and Big Show. It's like they literally just did the same match each year. They just had them switch brands. That was all that they did.
Yeah.
His match against Rusev at WrestleMania, which you can't do.
No.
Batista, which I guess they're on okay terms with Batista.
I think they did that one on here. Yeah. No, that was the SummerSlam 2008. That's one of the SummerSlam matches they put on here.
Two with The Rock. One with Triple H, one with Shawn Michaels. Really weird WrestleMania resume when you look at it as a whole.
Yeah.
Nothing real special, you know what I mean? Like, There's none of these matches you really could say were like exceptionally good. I really liked the one against Batista at Mania 26. That stands out to me as being probably the best out of all these.
Yeah.
A whole 15 WrestleMania matches, and a lot of them are pretty bad. I just found inspiration for a future video, Vito.
Sweet.
But let's talk some Fight Forever. It's time. You've got the roster up there. We're going to be making light of this roster. Take us through what we're doing.
So, A Fight Forever comes out June 29th. We've talked about that. So that is 17 days away. And they're definitely not done announcing wrestlers. And so we got more to go. So, a lot of good names have been announced. No big surprises of names. There's no one that they've announced that I'm like, oh, why'd they put him in the game or why'd they put her in the game? You know what I mean?
Right.
So, have you saw that? Is there anybody that surprised you so far?
Let me pull up the roster here. They'll tell you right freaking now.
Right freaking now.
AEW Fight Forever roster. It's great podcasting. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, I'm looking through here. I don't see anyone me.
This Abaddon woman, I know she was, she hasn't been around in a long time.
Yeah, but her face gets her in the game.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because she has a video game face. That's what gets her in the game.
Let's see here. Looking at, I'm not gonna look at this and say, that there's anyone I don't think should be, because come on,
Yeah,
how you gonna say, oh, I don't think they should be in the video game?
exactly. So I got this alphabetical list. I went through the roster, current AEW roster, and also the game roster. I have them side by side, and I went through the list to figure out who I think should be in the game that hasn't been announced. Now, I'm not saying that these guys will be announced or girls will be announced or not, but in my opinion, these are who should be in the game. We're going to discuss that right now. So, I'm just going to throw quickly people who are not in the game, and we'll get to the ones that I want to be in the game. So, people are not in the game. AR Fox, Aaron Solo, Action Andretti. And the person who I think should be in game first in that list is Alex Reynolds. Okay.
Ooh, okay.
His tag team partner's in the game, John Silver. Okay. And the only other Dark Order guy that's in the game is Brody Lee. And we know his story. And before I go further down the list, I'll bring another guy up from the list, Evil Uno.
Mm-hmm.
Evil Uno is also in the Dark Order, and he's been working on the game and doing all the media for the game, and they still have not announced that he's in there. So it's like, I don't understand why Evil Uno wasn't like first announced. Are they just holding him off?
I think Evil Uno is going to be in true Evil Uno fashion. There's going to be some type of a code or something.
You think so?
Yeah, there's got to be old school code that you plug in or something like that. That's what I envisioned, but I don't know.
So let's see, going down the line, Angelo Parker and Helico. Now the next one is Anthony Bowens. So we're gonna throw out the Anthony Bowens, Max Caster, and Daddy Ass are not in the game yet. Those three should be there at launch, right? We agree on that? Acclaimed should be there at launch?
I mean, that in a perfect world, yes. But I also see, they're kind of like the headline DLC pack probably, but
They're like the most over team in AEW right now, and have been since before the game was announced. So,
ooh, you know what? Also, I didn't even think of till just now. And I'm not knocking the game at all, but it's really difficult in games, I think, at least, to do like the animation, like true
scissors.
Well, not just the scissoring.
Oh.
But I'm thinking of more or less like their entrance, getting the mouth and everything to match up like correctly as they're coming out. It might not look so good, so you know what I mean. It's probably a hard thing, to capture. Right. I don't know. That's just a guess.
So run quickly through Anthony Gogo, Ari Daivari, Bandito, Boulder, Bronson, Big Bill. Bishop Khan. Now here's the other one. Blade, Butcher, and Blade. Bunny's in the game.
She's a DLC.
Blade. Do you think they should be in the game at launch?
I'm not going to say that they shouldn't be, because they've been a big part of the show. I mean, not a huge part, but they've been guys. They've been around.
They've been guys.
They've been guys, and they've been there.
They've been there since almost the beginning.
Right.
Yeah, they weren't like day oneers, but they were like, first quarters.
And I'm cool with them. You know what I mean? It would have been nice to have them in there. Yeah, sure.
So Bunny is DLC. I think they should be there for launch since Bunny's DLC. That's my opinion.
You could have thrown them into the DLC pack as well. But as we were talking, we don't think that this is the only DLC drop there's going to be, right? I mean, potentially there's going to be more. What we're thinking.
Yeah, I guess so.
So, like,
this is just the first couple DLCs. They say that this is the game that they're going to have for a few years. They're just going to keep upgrading this game. So,
well, that would be interesting if they just kept doing like character drops.
Well, if they put someone like the Acclaimed on like the 4th or 5th DLC, that would be a shame to me.
I mean, I dig that.
So,
yeah, I mean, yeah, the next series probably for sure, the quote unquote season 2.
Yeah.
Is how they're trying to do. They're trying to break these games now into seasons. You know?
So we got Blake Christian, Brandon Cutler, Brian Pillman Jr., Brock Anderson. Now here comes the other thing. Brody King and Buddy Matthews. Malachi Black is in the game. Brody King and Buddy Matthews, they're definitely going to be a DLC, right?
They've got to be at some point.
Should they be there on launch?
Well, I mean, they're obviously not going to be there on launch. I mean, if they're not, I mean, I think this roster that we have is the roster.
I don't think
so. What I'm thinking.
No,
we got 60 people.
They've already said they're still announcing more people.
Right.
This is not the permanent roster right here.
Okay.
Yeah, they're still announcing.
Yeah, a couple weeks to announce some guys. Yeah, so it makes sense if they were a part of that, sure. So you think the 60, okay, well, this is 60 including the DLCs.
Yes.
So, but.
Yeah, I know they're not done yet. So, so what do you think is more likely, that they're going to be on like the 4th or 5th DLC, or they'll get them in at launch?
House of Black.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the thing. I'm also thinking that like maybe they will announce more people, but they'll announce them as DLC.
Okay.
Was kind of where I was going with that. So maybe this roster is roster. So I think we see the first like post-launch DLC pack that comes out. We're going to hopefully get Acclaimed and House of Black and like one or two other people.
Okay.
Or they could split them up.
So there's going to be like a tag team pack, probably.
Yeah.
Okay. So, you think they're going to put Christopher Daniels in the game?
Yeah. They could. I don't see why not.
Okay. Let's see. Then we got Cole Carter, Colt Cabana. You think they're going to put the Guns in the game? Maybe down the line?
I mean, they've been champions, so they probably should.
All right. So we got Daniel Garcia, Dante Martin, and Darius Martin. Now, if you're right about the tag team thing, Darius Martin and Dante Martin could be down the line. But Darius Martin has not had a big thing in there, but Dante Martin has. He's had a hell of a career in AEW while his brother's been out.
Right. And now it's him that's hurt, right?
Yeah. Yeah, because now Darius Martin has been tagged up with Action Andretti.
Right.
So, here's the other person that I think is pretty big that's not in the game. Ethan Page.
Oh, wow. That's weird.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on that?
You know,
they'll squeeze him in the launch or on like the 4th or 5th DLC?
They could throw him in one of those packs. Like,
so?
Like in a perfect world, we're thinking, okay, we'll get House of Black and Acclaimed at the same time, but that's probably not how it's going to happen. We'll probably get like the first pack will probably look like you'll get the 2 House of Black guys. You'll have Adam Page, and then you'll also have like Private Party or something, you know, someone you don't like really really care for, but like they're
Getting to them eventually.
right. So there you
Getting
go.
to them eventually.
And then the second pack will probably be like the Acclaimed, Daddy Ass, and then
Actually,
like a couple girls.
now that you mentioned that, that's the thing that's missing. Is a bunch of tag teams are missing.
Right.
I just now caught that there's just a bunch of tag teams that are missing.
Guys like Private Party.
Private Party. All right. Top Flight. Acclaimed. Okay. All right. There could be a pack.
Right.
All right. Let's run through these last couple real quick. Fuego del Sol, Griff Garrison, Jay Lethal, Jay White. Those ones I don't think are going to get on there right away. Jake Hager, though. Jake Hager has not been announced yet.
Seems like Hager and everything should be in there, but
At launch, right?
yeah.
Jake Hager should be a launch wrestler. They should not be a DLC.
Could have the whole Jazz in there.
Isaiah Cassidy, we talked about him. Him and Mark Quinn should definitely be in there. Okay, run through these real quick. Josh Woods, Juice Robinson, too early. Kip Sabian. He took a big time off, so I'm not sure if he should be in the game. Or Penelope Ford. We'll fast forward to the girls there for a minute because they link together. What do you think about those two?
They should be in there at some point. I don't know about at launch or any of that stuff, but I think that they, if anyone, should be in there.
So we got, all right, Commander, Takeshita, Fletcher, O'Reilly, Johnson, Moriarty, Luther, Briscoe.
Luther.
Let's see, Menard, Seidel, Tavin. Okay. Nakazawa. You think Nakazawa deserves a place?
Oh my gosh.
He's an OG from day one. I mean, he's a stooge, but you think him and Brandon Cutler deserve a spot?
I could see them being in there, but not playable. Is what I would do with them. Yeah, cutscene status.
All right, let's see. Mike Bennett, no. Nick Camarada, no. Nick Wayne, no. Oh, okay. Oh, here's the other tag team: Santana and Anna Ortiz. So that's just another tag team we've been discussing.
Yeah.
Okay, Parker, Peter Avalon. So that's the same type of thing. He's one of the stooges like Nakazawa and Cutler.
Yeah.
Let's see, Preston Vance, QT Marshall. He's a day one guy.
Oh my gosh. He makes his way on to the dynamite screen enough that he can't not be in the game somewhere.
Yeah. So QT Marshall should be in the game. I think in launch. I don't think he should be a DLC guy.
Right. He should be the guy. He should be the guy training you in the creator wrestler mode, and then he should get him unlocked after you finish it.
Yeah. All right, Roderick Strong too early, Roosh, Samojo too early, Simon Singh, Serpentico, Sean Dean, Sean Spears. He took time off, but he's an OG guy, right?
Yeah. You gotta have Spears.
Okay, now here's the other thing. Sonny Kiss. Sonny Kiss is OG. I mean, he spent a lot of time on Dark Elevation, but the only reason why Sonny Kiss is on TV is because we ain't got nothing for you. But other than that, Sonny Kiss should be in the game.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. I'm not. Maybe that is more or less a visual aesthetics kind of thing, and I don't want to say this the wrong way, but I feel like, I don't know, it might be one of those things where they're afraid of putting Sonny Kiss in the game and then letting the public go wild with it.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing. But people do that anyway, you know what I mean? People make some freaking, like just crazy, whatever wrestlers, on their creator wrestlers, you can be whatever you want.
People still give crap to Nyla Rose for being in the women's division, for Christ's sakes.
Well, that's a whole other thing, but at least wrestling is not a actual thing, but that's a whole other thing.
Tony Nese, Trench, none of those guys. Wheeler Yuta. Wheeler Yuta should be in the game.
Seems a little. Yeah, but he didn't come in till just like last year, though, right? Him and Claudio. That was
I think
just.
he came into his own last year, but he was in there. He was part of the best friends.
Oh,
Part of
really?
Then here's the other thing. Claudio was seen on a loading screen for like Road to the Elite. So I just saw that on a video yesterday. So that's something. I put him as a maybe on here, so that could be.
It'd be nice for them to squeeze him in there.
Now, on to the ladies. Athena, Billy Starks, Diamante, Emi Sakura, Harley Cameron. So do you think Athena should be in the game, or is she a little too soon? She's been there for like a while, right?
Yeah, about a year.
I mean, she's Ring of Honor Women's Champion.
She could come. She could come along later, I would say.
Okay, here's the thing. Who was I looking at before? Who is in the game? There's a Japanese girl. Okay, Yuka Sakazaki is in the game, but Emi Sakura is not. You think Emi Sakura's had more matches in AEW than Yuka Sakazaki?
I have no frame of reference. Has she?
I think so. In my opinion, I think she has. But that's something for leave it in the comments. Let's see if you comment against that. Jamie Hayter is not in the game so far.
See, that's just not right.
Yeah.
That's a major downfall if that doesn't happen, because
yes.
Yeah.
So
for reasons.
So let's see. Julia Hart, Kara Hogan, Layla Gray, Layla Hirsch, Madison Rain, Mia Kratos, and Marie Shafir. Mercedes Martinez. Mercedes Martinez should be in the game.
She should.
That's just someone who I think should really be in the game.
She was the ROH champion when they inherited the company. Yeah. So,
Paige Van Sant, Penelope Ford. We talked about her with Chris Sabian. Rebel. You think Rebel should be in the game, or is she a cutscene girl, or just a manager for Britt Baker? Think.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting it's getting pretty. I mean, God, if that's kind of the thing. I mean, if you actually have everybody, dude, like what? That's like 100, over 100 playable characters. That would be some sort of new record, wouldn't it? I mean, gosh.
I don't know. I'm just throwing out a couple names. The ones I'm reading fast, are ones that I'm leaving out.
Right.
Okay.
But yeah, we're already at 60, and I mean, there's easily another 40 that can go in.
Yeah.
Easily.
Well, I'm only the ones that I really am interested in here are only at like 20.
Oh,
20
really? Well,
so yeah. Red Velvet, I'm not sure. I mean, she's a give or take. Saraya is not listed in the game yet. She's a give or take, but I think they probably should slide her in there, at least on a DLC, because the other thing who's not in the game is Toni Storm. Also not listed in the game yet.
See, it just doesn't seem right. There's got to be, and like you said, with the plan, what they're planning on having this out 3 or 4 years or whatever, in between games, that would make total sense to me.
Another person not in the game who I thought should have been is Serena Deeb.
Yep, you could have thrown her in there too. Why not?
And then I think that's about it for me. Willow is probably going to be in the DLC, and Sky Blue probably in the later one. But other than that, that's what I got so far. So the notes I have coming out of this are a lot of tag teams missing, and in the girls it's Jamie Hayter and the other one I had a problem with. Jamie Hayter was the biggest girl I had a problem with, was Jamie Hayter, because she's been there a while and not in the game so far. There's more coming. So that's the end of it.
Some glaring omissions.
Yes. So
Yeah, if like I said, if they do plan on having this slow rollout, that could, end up making a lot of sense, for just saving people for down the road.
let me go check the news real quick to see if
Juice,
there's any.
Juice, and Jay White. I don't know if they were in your list, but that also
Yeah, I
not
read
yet.
through them fast because they're new. See,
Right.
that's the other thing I was thinking about. Do you think there's going to be, since they said they're just going to keep improving this game, do you think there's going to be like a Ring of Honor expansion?
They could do that, do some official arenas or whatever.
Yeah,
Um,
because a lot of those names that I read through really fast were Ring of Honor names like Blake Christian and
because I don't believe we're going to get that type of stuff, right? Like create
yeah,
arena, stuff like that. Like you're not going to be able to just do that
yeah,
in this game.
like Blake Christian, um, Cole Carter. What are some of the other names here? Um, I can't get any other names. Josh Woods, Ari Davari, Kyle Fletcher, those type of guys. Those are mostly on Ring of Honor. So there's going to have to be like a Ring of Honor expansion for those guys to really get on there.
Vito, have you heard of this AEW Plus?
No. What is that?
I'm guessing it's only available internationally, is what I'm seeing here now. Yep, it's not available here. If we lived overseas, we could, or I could rather, sign up for this, and you get all the weekly programming. You get Dynamite, Rampage, what used to be known as Darks. I'm sure, Collision. You get them on like a live or a tape delay and something. Get that VPN and get your AEW Plus. That's what I'm
So
saying.
I did just read an article that there's this option in the Exploding Barbed Wire Death Match. Have you heard about this? There is an option for two different endings, one that delivers on the match's premises and one that plays tribute to the lackluster finish at Revolution
Oh,
TV.
nice. Yes, I would like the John Moxley Kenny Omega version, please.
Yeah, I would want the one where Eddie Kingston comes down and just like how does that work? Does it work for Eddie Kingston to come down, or if you have an ally, they come down and just lay on you, or?
That reminds me of the Mortal Kombat babalities, and stuff like that, where you turn your opponent into a baby or whatever instead of doing the finisher.
I like that.
And speaking of which, one last thing here before we wrap up, this is the last show that we will be recording in a pre AEW Collision world.
Ooh.
So this AEW Collision show is going to happen this Saturday. And who knows? All hell could potentially break loose with Phil Brooks back in the house.
I saw someone that thinks that he's going to join Bullet Club Gold.
Okay. Not sure about all that, but, it could happen. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know what to expect.
Someone online that said that. If CM Punk shows up and turns heel, like kicks the shit out of FTR at the end of the match and joins Juice and Jay, I think that would be, I don't know what I would think about that, but I don't have the most positive outlook on Phil coming back. Mostly because
seems problematic, right?
Yeah, mostly because of that media scrum. After All Out, and then the crap that happened after that. I did not like that media scrum. I did not like the way he was. That was not the Phil Brooks that I waited 7 years to watch. That was not the guy I wanted.
Not my
He was
Punk.
he was a bitter, sour old man who, yeah, I just did not like it. And I thought he was gone. We all thought he was getting the payout. You knew it wasn't going to happen. Uh, you've been telling me all along, but yeah, I'm not excited. I mean, you know me, I'm a big CM Punk fan, but I don't know, not excited anymore.
You know, the steam kind of seems like it's came off of the fastball a little bit, you know, especially when it comes to the launch of this new show and just all the weirdness surrounding it. I don't know. We'll have to see what they end up doing. I
Now,
don't, yeah.
I'm happy for Collision. We're gonna get Miro, Andre Alidolo, Thunder Rosa. We're gonna get some old people that we miss. So happy for that. But Phil, not so much. I could give or take Phil.
It's so weird that, like, you know, and I guess, I mean, they've been doing this in wrestling, though, for years and years, you know, with the segregation of locker rooms for the most part. You know, people look at this and will say, you know, critics of AEW will say, oh, it's so ridiculous that, you know, Tony Khan can't control his locker room enough to where you know, Punk and, you know, everyone gets along and blah 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 blah, and they've got to separate, you know, all these people onto this other show. Well, that's what WWE did for years. You know, we just never really heard about it. But I'm sure that, you know, WWE for years would strategically keep some people apart, but a lot of the time they would behind the scenes make sure that certain people were together, like if they didn't like each other, to try to, like, you know, either make them figure it out or whatever. They would split the couples apart. That was the big thing WWE would do for all those years, right?
Yeah, now they don't do that. Now the couples stay together.
Right. We're going to put you on SmackDown and you on Raw.
Gotcha.
So it's interesting. You know, it's a good tool to have, I guess. I don't think you should really look at it as like a negative way, and maybe eventually everything will work itself out, you know?
Yeah, hopefully.
Or it'll be one of the greatest angles of all time. Who knows? Still could be. Don't rule it out, Vito. I think that's all we got for this week. Any parting words? BBT, my man, anything else you want to get in there? Anything you want to plug before we wrap this baby up? I'm looking forward
to more news coming out. More news coming out in the next 17 days before the game comes out. If you're a wrestling fan and you like old wrestling arcade games, like the old No Mercy and, you know, old button mashing wrestling games, order this game. It's going to be great. And AEW doesn't pay me for saying that, so check it out.
Fight forever.
Fight forever.
Fight for nothing.
Wait forever.
You're right. Wait forever. Scissor me. Scissor me. Follow us. Like the video. Subscribe. Leave a rating. Wherever you're listening to us, we appreciate you. We love y'all. One day we'll buy y'all 4 or 5 stiff drinks.
That's right.
That'll be nice.
Yep.
Until then, we'll see you next time right here on the Super Kick Weekly Podcast Show.
Team.
Wrong one. Nope. There it is. I find